we're good at solving crime. But I would rather our citizens not be a victim of a crime that gets solved versus never being a victim in the first place.
That's the goal for Sparks Police, preventing crimes before they ever happen. Hello and welcome to Spotlight on Sparks. I'm your host, Adam Mayberry. The same rapid changes in technology that affect you and me are changing the way that police protect lives and property. In the next half hour, we'll take you behind the scenes of the Sparks Police Department to see what's new and how it's impacting your safety.
Excited, scared, working through the whole process, but most of all, ready to serve and continue to serve, the citizens of Sparks. This is a great opportunity, and I look forward to advancing the police department within the city that I've lived in and been a part of my whole life. We have an attitude of if you've already invested in this community, you're going to continue to invest in this community. And back in 1991, when I started, the people that were in power at that time took a chance on a young 21-year-old Sparks kid, and I'm glad and happy that I've been able to prove them right and be able to move through the ranks and now lead this great organization. Well, my parents moved us into this community, my brother and I, in 1976. So I moved over here about a mile down the road from where we sit today in the police department. My parents still live in that same house, and went to Greenbrae Elementary School back when you could walk and ride your bike to school. Went to Catherine Dunn the first year it opened, Dilworth Middle School, Reed High grad, and UNR. And so I've been in this community really for the last 37 years. If you look at the growth, and really, no one in the city could have projected the extreme growth that we had from 1999, 2000 through the 2006 range. But the police department, in a percentage-wise, did not keep up with the population increase and growth. Historically, the police department's been around 1.5 officers per 1,000 in through the 90s, and we have dropped all the way down to 1.14 officers per 1,000 during that growth spurt. Based on the last several years and a little decline in population in Sparks, we currently sit around 1.2 officers per 1,000 residents as we sit today. So as the growth took place, as we did the great expansion to the east and to the north, we haven't been able to keep up with that growth, with the number of officers proportionate to that population. If we look at national averages, 1.8 to 2.0 officers per 1,000 for a community our size, nested within the greater Truckee Meadows. And that's one of the key aspects that we have to look at is, if you look at a standalone city of 90,000 people, a ratio of 1.2 might not necessarily be bad. But when you look at that we're in the Truckee Meadows and we are sitting in a valley of approximately 400 to 450,000 with a gaming aspect and a 24-hour lifestyle, that's when those numbers really don't meet the needs that our citizens have.
I don't know what he's up to, but everything starts out with, before we come to work, I think, having a good home life. When you do come to work, we sit down at briefing and we talk about, issues that we need to address right away. And then, when we come out, for me, when I hit the gate, the light switch is on and I'm totally focused on work. I don't think about my home life, and I think more importantly, I don't bring my job home either. I like to treat everybody the same and fair. I don't like to separate people as far as being a suspect and a victim, because I found that treating everybody with respect tends to go a long ways. Our victims need to be able to talk to us and feel comfortable talking to us. And when we have a suspect and we're talking to them, we like to treat them with respect, because I found that they'll talk to you more and they'll be able to open up to you a little more. just I pride myself in that, and trying to treat everybody with the same amount of respect. It goes a long ways in this job. I joined this department later on in life. I was 38 when I started, and I had some life experience that I think really helped, especially dealing with people as long as I did. Before I took this job, and I'll say it time and time again, I think that there's good people to just make bad decisions, and we can't be completely hard on them. I mean, we need to treat them fair.
I can do that. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You're gonna wrap your lips around this straw like this, make a tight seal, and blow into this for about 5 to 6 seconds. But keep blowing until I tell you to stop. Okay? Blow hard. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Good. Go ahead and grab that straw. Relax. Spread your feet for me.
What did I blow?
I'll tell you everything in just a second, okay?
It's impossible. Are you serious?
Yes.
No. Come on, guys, listen. I told you the truth about everything. There's no possible way I can be drunk. There's no possible way, sir.
I see that.
Hey, stop. Not drunk. I haven't even finished my drink. It's a 16-ounce drink, and I haven't even finished it, for God's sakes.
I want you to take a breath and relax.
I'm not going to relax. I am not drunk.
So we have 5 different calls, priority calls. It goes 1 through 5. 1 being the most serious. So if we get a priority 1 call, we all jump on it, and we all go to it, because it's one of those things where somebody needs help immediately. If we have a priority 5 call, sometimes those hold for a little bit, but not too long, and we'll try to help out with those as much as we can too. Basically, when you're assigned a beat, you're assigned to a beat, but at the same time, the whole city is actually our beat. Everything within the city is our responsibility. It's not just one little area.
Once upon a time, managing resources simply meant assigning cops to a beat. But nowadays, computer-aided dispatch centers and cop cars full of electronics route officers to where they're needed most.
This is just our starting point for the day. And obviously, when a patrol car leaves the station here, it may or may not return back to the station until the end of their shift. And so they are out within those 34.2 square miles that we have. Currently, we have 108 sworn people. And out of that, we have about 62 of those assigned to patrol, and then we have obviously detectives and support staff throughout the building. We have about 43 civilian. So we have 62 people that are really designated to be in patrol on a daily basis. Now, that doesn't mean that we have 62 guys working on a daily basis. It means we have 62 people spread out 24/7, 365 to get that coverage. So that really eliminates it down to about 10 or 12 guys assigned to each team. And when you start talking about absentee rates and vacations and annual leave and sick leave and all the things that we all get, we sometimes get down to 7 guys at a time working. We have a great set of people in our dispatch center, and the computer actually helps designate who responds to those types of calls.
Let me get your medical, okay?
And when we have a minimum, again, of 7 officers working, we have 7 beats within the city of Sparks. But if a crime happens in one geographic area and there is an officer assigned to that area, typically, especially if it's a priority 1, and priority 2, it requires more than one officer to respond. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3, sometimes we'll send 4, 5, or 6 officers to one call based on the nature of that call. So it draws those resources from the other geographic areas or beats into that one area. So you can see there's a domino effect that if there is a call in one area, it draws officers there. We get a call in another geographic area, it may draw one of the officers from another area to that area, and sometimes we are doing a lot of driving to get to the calls.
4111, Rock and Glendale, come closer to that. 31's cool.
Between dispatch and the officers, it's kind of like a dance in a way, where they're feeding off of each other, they know where each other are. There's vehicle locators in all the vehicles. Dispatch can actually pull up a map and see where all the vehicles are, and it can assist them in dispatching and allocating those resources where they're going to be the most effective. And we do have a call prioritization system, and priority 1 calls are in progress crimes against the person, and those are our main focus. We want to be able to get to a call that is in progress under 7 minutes from the time that the person calls 911 or makes that phone call into the dispatch center to the time an officer is on scene, of less than 7 minutes. So we prioritize all of our calls to allow that response time. The second level is priority 2 calls, and those are in progress crimes against property. Those would be your burglaries, your larcenies, or those types of things that are occurring in progress, but not at the crime against a person, such as your robbery and sexual assaults and those types of aggravated batteries and those types of crimes.
Have an officer respond out, okay? Thanks.
Priority 3s are not in progress crimes, and we tend to have a longer response time for those because of the nature of the type of call. Now, we still want to try to get to priority 1s, 2s, and 3s are our key focus. Priority 4s and 5s are really some of your parking complaints and some of the other things that we do that, as our officers have time and availability.
Back in 1903, the Southern Pacific Railway built a roundhouse facility. The railroad offers its Wadsworth employees incentive to move to the new site. A clear deed to a lot 50 feet by 140 feet in size. And so the city of Sparks, Nevada was born. The Southern Pacific Railway even offered to pack up every house in Wadsworth and ship it, free of charge. By 1905, Frank Millay was the city of Sparks police chief, and also its first fire chief. Over the years, as ranches gave way to homes and shopping centers, a variety of police chiefs have served. Chief Brian Allen is the most recent of local officers to be promoted from within the organization, all the way up to its top leadership position.
In 2008, we followed a national trend of going towards a CommStat model, which was really focusing on weekly, timely, up-to-date information and how you react to crime trends quickly versus over a longer period of time. And during that process, we identified what we refer to as our Big Five. And those Big Five would be all 3 burglaries, so residential burglary, commercial burglary, and vehicle burglary, grand theft auto or GTA, and robbery. So those are the 5 crimes that we automatically and routinely look at least once a week to determine whether those crime trends are going up or crime trends are going down in those 5 crimes. On top of that, we also monitor a next level of aggravated assaults, sexual assaults, to see if there is any type of relationship between those crimes as they are being reported as well. Within this detective section, we have the crime suppression unit, and they're the ones that are looking at this tactical crime analysis report, working under the direction of the detective division and identifying these crime trends. And they are going out and looking for and actively searching for the people who are committing those crimes, so that as we see a spike in a certain crime, we can stop that crime trend within a week versus waiting until it's 2 or 3 weeks and we have additional victims. A lot of that work is done by our crime analyst, and she is a wonderful asset to this department. Her along with some help from volunteers, will go through all of those calls every week and sift through all of that data and create what we call a tactical crime analysis report. Every week she prepares this report and presents it so we can monitor and track the different crime trends. So she is sifting through all of those big 5 calls, but on top of that, every suspicious person call, suspicious vehicle call, or any call that she thinks that she can gather information. And to be honest with you, there are several times that she's put together a suspect, identified a suspect, and basically just had to say, go get this guy and arrest him because he's the one that's committing these crimes, just based on her analysis of the crime trend. When we first created our crime suppression unit and they have identified a potential crew that was doing residential burglaries, they literally followed that crew into Southwest Reno, into Hidden Valley, into the Spanish Springs area before they had enough evidence that they felt would lead to a conviction where we effected the traffic stop and made the arrest for the crimes that they had committed. That day they committed no crimes in Sparks, but they were in South Reno and North Spanish Springs, all within a several-hour period. So we have a transient type of criminal within the Reno, Sparks, Northern Nevada area, not in that they're homeless transient, but they have availability of cars and access to travel throughout the community to commit their crimes. So the people who are living in Reno or unincorporated Washoe County are being able to travel into our city and commit those crimes. So as we move through community-based policing, community-oriented policing, and we take that philosophy, maintain our community philosophy, but now add what we've learned through CompStat and crime analysts and move into intelligence and predictive policing, it's going to continue to change the face of law enforcement. It absolutely is 100% proactive in that they are taking reactive information and proactively trying to prevent the further spread of that crime trend. And there have been times that we have seen a upspike in a certain type of crime. They look through that tactical crime analysis report, find the suspicious vehicles, identify a potential suspect, and within a week have that person in custody and under arrest. And what that does is it prevents 2 or 3 other victims, 4 or 5 other victims, and we all know if you ever had your car broken into or your house broken into, that feeling, and if we can prevent that from happening to our residents, that is a higher goal than being able good at solving crime. We pulled key critical resources out of our detective division and our patrol division to make this work, not knowing the results. And now looking back, if you look at our unified crime reporting numbers from 2008 to 2012, there are areas of the Big 5 that we have reduced crime by over 30% over the course of the last 4.5 years. If we can take the things that we've learned through crime suppression unit, create a second one, because they only work 4 days out of the week based on staffing, if we could create another one, what could we really do and affect crime and safety within the city of Sparks?
Technology is helping police detectives lower some crime rates by as much as 30%. But the population growth that triggers such challenges continues today. Although things have slowed down, Sparks will continue to grow. Another ribbon cutting means there's more to enjoy at Golden Eagle Park. 2 new Little League fields, complete with lighting and scoreboards, offer kids more space to play baseball. The popular park boasts synthetic turf, oversized and shaded dugouts, heated bathrooms, and a year-round concession stand. The sports complex at Golden Eagle Regional Park opened back in 2008 as the largest public works project in Sparks history. Now it hosts more than 1 million people a year for league and tournament games.
It'll be beneficial for the young children of Sparks, so we have more Little League fields that they can play on. We had a huge shortage a long time ago, and now we've got plenty of fields, but we seem to fill them up. And it's, not only going to be for the children of Sparks, but there's people from all over the county that'll come here and play. So it's very beneficial for Northern Nevada.
Yeah, well, one thing everybody forgets is that this is used by locals, but it's also used by a lot of people that come from out of town. I think the mayor mentioned earlier that there's 100 teams coming from New York State. Let's just say there's 10 people on each team. That's 1,000 people. They have to stay somewhere. So the hotels benefit. They have to eat someplace. So all the restaurants benefit from 1,000. And people forget that last year we had something like 1 million people visit this park. I would have to say that probably 80% of them are for outside the area. So once again, it fills up hotel rooms and restaurants.
I only live a couple of miles from here, and I actually walk my dogs. And yesterday, my wife took me out for a walk around this park. If you haven't been through it, it's well worth it. Some beautiful views on the other side of these hills here, and you know, I spent a couple hours with my dogs and my wife walking out here. Love this park. Love the location of it. I love the fact that it's right pretty much in the heart of the city.
Over at Wedekind Park, another ribbon cutting marks the opening of new and improved hiking trails and facilities. At 250 acres, Wedekind Regional Park is one of the last remaining areas of significant open space in the city of Sparks. The mayor and city council were on hand to recognize improvements such as a new parking lot, 2 new trailheads, a picnic pavilion, new restroom facilities, an outdoor classroom, and also shaded seating at a scenic overlook. In another part of Sparks, dirt turns and cinder blocks rise out of the ground. The Legends Outlet Mall in Sparks is now home to Northern Nevada's first and only IMAX theater. The new state-of-the-art Galaxy Theater complex includes its signature giant IMAX screen, but also 11 additional auditoriums equipped with all digital sound and projection. Mayor Martini says of the new theater, it will continue the city's branding efforts as a place where there is always something happening, fun to do and see in Sparks. Sparks has now grown to 91,000 people and 32 square miles, making it the 5th largest city in Nevada. We asked the police chief, do you have enough resources? Do you have enough police officers?
No, and that's where we need to go into the future, and we need to find a designated funding source to provide for public safety and police within our city. The way that the general fund is working, and most cities are like this, that the police department does take up a majority of the budget, but we have to break that cycle. The police department is funded out of the general fund of the city. So property taxes, sales taxes, all of that go into the general fund, and right now the police department is averaging somewhere between 35 and 40% of the general fund expenditures of the city. On top of that, we have applied for and received grant funding, and there's several different areas that we've received grant funding. The 6 officers are funded out of the Department of Justice Community-Oriented Policing Services office in Washington, D.C. And that was back when we had the first budget cuts under the Obama administration. We were able to save 6 positions that were labeled for layoffs within the city. So we're at the tail end of that cycle, and now we're going to have to pick those officers back up within the general fund. As we look at more officers and we can get those, and as we talked about earlier about cross-beat dispatching and geographically and how it does, if we can get more officers out there, we can give the officers more proactive time while they're working. And you measure officers' times as reactive and proactive. Obviously, reactive is 100% reacting to the call that gets called into dispatch. Dispatch then calls the officer. They respond to a past tense crime. And we would like to see at least 50% of our officers' time proactively looking for and addressing crime and traffic within our city. So anytime that they can go out and be proactive, it's preventing those victims from ever occurring. And that is a hard thing to measure, but it's so valuable for our community. Here's the thing, if we can do what we are doing with what we have, I can only imagine what we can do with more. If we can take the things that we've learned through crime suppression and create a second one, we could create another one, what could we really do and affect crime and safety within the city of Sparks? Now we take the same lessons that we have learned through the CSU, and now we apply them to a quality of life team, an anti-graffiti team, or an anti-gang team of our own inside the framework of the regional gang unit. And how could we affect gang crime within the city of Sparks, knowing what we have learned and the lessons we have learned through the crime suppression unit model. If we just added patrol officers, it would be one thing. But if we create and use those officers in areas that are going to reduce calls for service, it has a domino effect and allows the number of officers that we have in patrol more time, because they're not responding to those calls for service that would have been called in had we not. So as we create these specialized units that go out and affect calls for service in high crime and high call areas, it will then actually free up time for the officers. So it's kind of a dual-sided approach. We would take more officers, we would assign them into these areas where we know that we can reduce calls for service and crime, and add additional patrol resources, giving them more freedom and proactive crime to work within our community to address individual needs. And together with that dual approach, we could truly reduce our calls for service and our response times.
32 years is an impressive series of wins. The City of Sparks, Nevada has earned a 32nd consecutive award, a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. The award recognizes the quality and accountability of the city's comprehensive annual financial report. An impartial panel judged our city's report as meeting the highest standards in readability, usability, and for full, honest disclosure of the city's financial story. Congratulations and great job to the Sparks Financial Services Department. The city's comprehensive annual fiscal report is available to the public online on the city's website. Now, something new is happening here in Sparks. The city now hosts a U.S. Open HydroTurf Watercross National Tour. The annual competition draws competitors and spectators from all over the United States, offering a purse of $12,000 and the U.S. Open title. The public event at the Sparks Marina is a blast to watch, combining big air jumps, stunts, racing, and freestyle competitions. Well, that's a wrap for this installment of Spotlight on Sparks. Please be sure to pass the word on this important program focused on predictive policing, which can be seen on Sparks Centennial Television, Charter 215, or AT&T UVerse Channel 99. You can also view the program on the city's website at cityofsparks.us. Please make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and be safe out there. Thanks for watching. I'm Adam Mayberry.